Okay, what we have here are power adapters that are remote controlled. These are made by Owl and readily available in DIY shops, etc., and on the internet. So what you have here is a remote control unit, and in this box you have two power adapters, but they also sell four-way blocks, and they sell multiple units where you can get a single or a double or a 4-socket, or you can even get a larger remote control with up to 12 individual numbers. So it's a programmable unit, but it's really, really simple. So I'm going to just quickly show you now. I program this unit here by pressing the coding button. It blinks. I'm going to program it onto button 2. Both lights, that light came on as I pressed the button, that light went off. So now when I press 2, you heard the click as a reassuring relay inside the unit switched on, and you can see there a little red light. Press 2 again, goes off. Okay, you also have an all off feature. If you press all off, anything, all of these programmed to be 1, 2, 3, 4 will all go off, which is quite a nice feature. So let me turn the unit on again. So you can hear quite a nice click in there. This is obviously can be mounted to your wall. You could run a 4-way block off this, but then of course every device that you've got on there turns off. Owl also sell individual 4-way blocks where each socket on the 4-way block is programmable. So you've got quite a few options here. Owl do more than this. They do energy meters and a few other things. So Owl's quite a good company when it comes to power saving. And the reason these are sold as a power saving device, not just for convenience, is because a lot of people just leave their televisions on standby because they want the convenience that when they come down in the morning they can just use the remote control to turn the television back on and not have to go to the wall socket. What this allows you to do is to have the wall socket turned off as well, so you can just go to bed, have your downstairs floor perhaps on one of these, and turn everything off, and then you know your television, etc., isn't taking any unnecessary electricity overnight. These run on almost minuscule amounts of voltage, so these are really very energy efficient compared to anything like a television or hi-fi, etc. And then when you come down in the morning, all you've got to do is to turn on what you're using, and then you can leave that alone until literally you go to bed, and then you can use your remote controls to control all your devices, etc. These are really quite nice units. We've been using these for a while. These are 5 amp devices, so that means you can't expect to have a kettle or a toaster or your oven connected through these, because they need at least a 13 amp device, and I don't recommend those kind of things are on these kind of radio frequency switches. This is very much for your hi-fis, your televisions, your stereos, etc., your game units, your console. So you could, for example, have child A, child B, child C, child D, and you could just say, right kids, turn off your Xboxes. Now I'm not saying that you should use this like that, but it does mean that you've got peace of mind when kids go, say they're asleep, that all the electronic devices that you think should be turned off at night are turned off, and you can do that remotely, so still giving your kid the privacy but having a little bit of control over the units and the safety features that you require in your house. You've also got on the plug, so don't think you've got ultimate control, you've also got on the plug, and it's a good thing, a manual on off button, so you can just, nearest the plug itself, there's just a little tap button here, so you can turn things on and off. So if this isn't working, or it's not at hand, or your battery's gone flat, etc., you're not going to have to suddenly unplug and rewire things. You can just toggle things, still knowing that remote control, you get the all off feature, or you can turn on and off, and it's pretty good at knowing where it is with regards to the toggle. Now this is an infrared, this is a radio frequency, and the good thing about that is you can actually do things through walls and through your floors in your house. So in a reasonable sized house you can expect from downstairs in the kitchen, for example, to be able to turn things on or off in a bedroom upstairs, possibly even in an attic room, etc., if you've got a 3-story townhouse. So as I say, this is a power saving feature as well as a convenience feature. The only negative I've got, and I've deliberately got this on the table with 2 to show you this, is these are slightly wider than a normal UK plug. So if I turn this over, you'll see what I mean. So you can see there the normal width of a plug. That means you can't have 2 of these side by side in a standard adapter. So it's very close, but as you can see, I'm not going to ram that in because they're not going to work. That's not going to fit. So it takes slightly more width than a normal plug. And the only disadvantage that means is that on some dual sockets in houses, depending on the spacing of the units, or on some 4-way blocks, again depending on the spacing of the sockets, you might not be able to get 2 of these adjacent to each other. Now you've still got plenty of room there to put a normal plug in there, so it's just 2 of these neighbouring that is the issue. You can absolutely get another UK plug in there. So they're not too big, but they're slightly big. Bigger than you know, if they could have just shaved off those few millimeters. I'd have said this is a perfect unit. As it is, I'd say it's very, very good. I find the reception on these very good. I find the access to the batteries very simple. Comes with a little camera cell type battery that's readily available. It lasts a long time, so you can absolutely expect to get several months battery power out of this, turning things on and off. And these of course don't need any batteries because they take the very small amount of power that they need from the actual power socket themselves. Now even if the wall socket, or these are disconnected from the wall socket themselves, these don't sort of lose their settings readily. So I've certainly had these things unplugged when going on holiday, and after a couple of weeks coming back, they still know which is 2, which is 1, etc. So if I plug this back in, fully expect it to work, remembering that it's the 2 unit. So if I just turn the 2 on, as you can see, it comes on and off. Where if I press 4, nothing happens. 3, nothing happens. So it's still a 2. You see there by the reassuring red light. And I'm just going to turn all off again. So really quite handy. Will save you some power, some electricity, etc. They don't cost too much. You're paying probably about £20, 20 euros, that kind of price in the UK. They're made by Owl, really nice units, feel really solid. They're not plasticky. They don't get dirty, so they're a good plastic, and they're not too deep either. They're only about an inch deep once they're actually in a wall socket, and they're quite discreet looking units. And I particularly like the easy access to the power button to override, as well as the very simple way of doing coding. There's no weird dials or dip switches on the back that you have to set on this or the remote. It's all very electronic, and you can pair up a number of them. So this is number 2. I can make this one number 2 as well, so you can have multiple units on the same unit, and you can also have multiple remotes as well. So it's really convenient and very much a system that can grow with your house and your needs.